You have to believe in what you're saying before you actually say it. Your audience doesn't want you to communicate like AI. Why? People can immediately point it out. People are immediately turned off. Thinking back to where I was, honey, let me just say the glow up is real, okay? Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Authentic Media Podcast. I'm your host, Danielle J. and today we're discussing the number one question that I get all the time, and that is, how do I show up confidently on camera, Danielle? Well, it's your lucky day because I'm breaking down a couple of tips and practical ways that you can walk away from today's episode and start practicing today. If you were to ask yourself, if I could press record on this camera right now, would my audience receive confidence or hesitation? Now, whatever your answer is, I want you to lean in, okay? Because this skill is for everyone, okay? Knowing how to confidently show up on camera is so necessary. Regardless of what industry that you're in, you need to know how to communicate confidently on camera. Why? It helps your audience believe you, understand you, and know that you are the expert that you are. In case you don't know, the number one fear that people have is public speaking. Why? There are many reasons why that is a fear for everyone. However, I don't want that to be your fear forever. So I'm here to encourage you on one, whatever tips that you take away from today's episode, just know that this is not the end, okay? I'm super excited to share that if you really like this episode, first of all, thank you for tuning in. Like this episode, share it with someone, but most importantly, subscribe to this episode, and also know that in a couple of weeks, I'm actually going to be releasing a one-on-one training that you get to have with me all around how to show up confidently on camera. I'm super, super excited. But today I want to give you like a teaser of what that training is really going to be about, okay? So I really want you to lean in and basically like tell me what parts that you would want to learn a little bit more, but why I think this skill is necessary and why I felt the need to make it a whole training is one, I get this question all the time, and I would love to spend like thousands of hours with every individual person, but I truly want to make this a coachable moment, right? If I could think back to when I first started in the news industry and thinking back to where I was, honey, let me just say the glow up is real. Okay. I did not just wake up and was born this way of knowing how to confidently communicate on camera. It's not easy, right? And it's not for everyone, but I actually want to combat that myth. I do believe it's for everyone. I believe that everyone has the capability of learning how to actually show up on camera confidently. But if you don't know where to start, you're kind of just like, okay, I don't know. You're just kind of blind, right? Starting. And so if I could talk to the younger version of myself, or if I could go back in time and say, honey, this is how you really do it, this is what I would do. Okay, so grab your pen and paper. We're just going to dive right in. We're going to make this a short, quick episode because I really want you to take action today. And I don't want you to feel like you're never going to be able to overcome this. Okay, and so that brings me to my first point. In order for you to truly show up on camera confidently, I believe, and you know me, you guys, I'm always going to take it a little bit step further than just the surface level. And that is, you have to believe in what you're saying before you actually say it. Okay. If someone could tell me that, hey, I'm going to give you this script, but I want you to really like embrace it, understand the words, become the words, really dive into the sentences and the structure and the context and understand the content. So when you communicate it, your audience can connect with you. And so I would say that's really the first point. You have to believe in what you're saying before you actually say it. And I think it is different depending on what industry you're in, right? Because some people are given a script and they're like, okay, go ahead and read it. But I believe that if you could just take a good 30 minutes to yourself before you get on stage to make that speech or that keynote speech, or before you give that workshop or that seminar presentation, before you do that, I highly encourage that you spend some, I would say, self-care time with the script or with the message that you're actually going to communicate, and really get clear in what you're saying. First of all, make sure it sounds like you. Okay. That was one thing that I had to learn in the news industry, was that you have to really communicate in broadcast style. That's true. But when it comes to giving a presentation, a keynote speech, and you're communicating with your team, whatever the case may be, I believe you have to make it sound like you. Have to. Nowadays, even when I'm doing TV hosting, I will rearrange words, or I will make it sound like me, so I'm not communicating like I'm a robot. Truly, think about it. Your audience doesn't want you to communicate like AI, okay? Your audience does not want you to communicate like you're trying to be something else. Why? People can immediately point it out. As soon as you communicate and open your mouth and you start adding in words that does not sound like you, people are immediately turned off. I'm immediately being sold on what you're trying to convince me to do. I start to believe that you're trying to manipulate me. I start to believe that you are trying to get me on this whole different path that I'm not currently on. So going back to point number 1, believe in what you're saying, make sure it sounds like you, because in order for you to communicate that to your audience, you have to believe it. I mean, think about the greats, right? Like to Martin Luther King and to different people that you listen to on podcasts, right? Like truly, I know for a fact, when I communicate on camera, honey, the amount of times that I had to stop because I'm like, this doesn't sound like me. I have to just communicate. I have to talk to you like I'm just talking to a friend. And it's interesting because that was like the number one tip that I got in the news industry. When you see that camera, act like you're talking to your mom. And I remember sitting at that anchor desk and saying to myself, yes, I know my mom is watching me, but there's also other people out there watching as well. And I want to be able to talk to them. And they said, no, literally act like you're communicating to your mom. Act like you're talking to your mom across that camera. And it has stuck with me ever since then. Years later, as soon as I look at the camera or even know that like I'm literally just communicating to the camera on the other side of this as if it's my girlfriend, or as if I'm like, having a conversation with God. Like, I mean, truly, that perspective has shifted my mind to say, I'm just communicating with my friend. I'm not even realizing that I'm being recorded right now. I mean, yes, I am, but it's a shift in mindset where it's like, okay, I can release my fear. I can release my anxiety. We're just having a simple conversation. Right? So that is tip number 2. Act like you are talking to your friend. Act like you are talking to someone that you care about. Because if you think about who you care about, you are truly going to be communicating in a whole different way versus if you're trying to, let's say, sell something. Your message might be a little bit different, right? Now, we're going to dive into how do you communicate to a specific type of client or audience in the training. I can't go on and on about that. We will be here forever. But if I could give you the next point, it's when you turn on that camera, act like you are communicating to your mom, your friend, someone that you love, someone that you care about, because your whole dynamic, your whole message, your body, your tone, it's all going to shift. It's all going to feel a lot more easier and lighter, rather than if you feel like you have to give this presentation, or if you feel like you have to give this speech. Yes, your demeanor is going to change. Or even as a business owner, if you feel like you want to sell a product or communicate to your audience about an event, right? There's something about you that might get a little stiff, might think I got to be professional. I want my client or my audience to know that I'm this type of person. I think that involves a lot of mindset. And I think that right there has to be dissected, because I think that if you look at social media, it does feel like you're constantly being sold to. Now, I have a platform that is literally called authentic media. Honey, I can't even sell to you even if I wanted to. Meaning like I can't convince you to do something that I don't believe in unless I truly believe in it. And I think even when it came down to doing this episode, I said, oh my gosh, like this episode is going to need a whole separate training for me to really help specific people in specific industries, knowing like, what do you need the camera for, right? Like what exactly are you communicating? And then then I feel like I can actually coach you and navigate you through, okay, well, this is the type of tone that you need to have. This is the type of body style that you need to have and position that you need to have, right? But that's going to be a whole nother training, honey. So today, we're just going to give you the surface level of what you need to do, okay? So believe in what you're saying, number one. Number two, act like you're talking to your friend, someone you care for, a family member, as if it was the camera, okay? It will help you break down that fear, release that anxiety, okay? Step number three, I want you to know the 3P framework. That is prep, present, and practice. Okay, so let's take the first P, for example. If you know your first key point, if you're prepping, right, I would say depending on what you are communicating, right? Because let's say majority of us who are listening to this are business owners and they want to show up confidently on camera when it comes to communicating to their audience about a specific product that they want to sell or an event that they want their audience to know about, or you just want to give an encouraging message to your audience, right? I would say give yourself 3 bullet points, right? When I create my podcast episodes, I at least have to have 3 to 5 bullet points. One, it keeps me on track because I could ramble forever, my friend. And I need to have my 3 bullet points or 5 because it keeps me hitting the point and it makes the video purposeful and intentional. If you are really skilled at communicating on camera, you know how to package your message so well that you don't need bullet points. But I'll let you know today that the greats, the presidents, the people that are in CEO positions, I've seen all types of leadership styles of people who are in leadership that also literally use bullet points. I kid you not, nobody's remembering anything, right? Like, yes, people are writing things and they're making it sound like their own. But what I'm saying is that even people that are millionaires that I've been around and communicated with, they all have a script that they follow. Why? Because there's so much going on in our head that we can't remember everything. Right. And it's also good to make sure that you're staying on track, that you are getting to your key points. Like you want to hit these 3 bullet points. Okay. So prep is the first word in the 3P framework. Then you're going to present your presentation, your video to yourself in the mirror. Okay. Now, some people might feel like, Danielle, I do not want to communicate to myself in the mirror. I know it is uncomfortable, but you have to. Why? Because you need to review yourself. You need to literally get so comfortable with how you are on camera practicing. You will be so surprised by the things you do, not realizing that you do it by reviewing yourself. I remember I was told to literally go back and review my tapes. Right? Okay. People don't say tapes anymore, but review my videos, review my newscast back in the day. Right? And it was probably the most uncomfortable thing. And I said, well, I don't like this, this, and this, and this, and this. I encourage you not to look at yourself and start picking at the negative. I actually want to encourage you to write down 5 positive things that you like about yourself in the video while practicing, or let's say you're in the mirror and you're practicing. I would say, what are 5 things that you like about yourself? And then on the other side of that paper, then I would write 5 things that you could improve on, right? I think it's so easy for many of us to literally like dissect all of the negative things. Like as humans, it's so easy for us to say, I don't like this, this, and this, and this. Let's not do that, okay? Let's actually take a pause and write down 5 positive things that you like about what you just presented. There's always going to be room for improvement. If you don't have areas of improvement improvement, then you're not growing, right? But don't look at it as like, I don't like my hair, I don't like my voice, I don't like the way I'm saying this and that. All of that's going to come over time, but you won't know what that looks like until you actually practice and look at yourself, okay? So prep, present, and then that leads me into the last P, which is practice. So once you go into the mirror and you do your presentation, now you have to record it, obviously, so you can review yourself. You are going to do it at least 3 to 5 times a day. I know it's a lot, but in order for you to improve, I was always told you have to do things in threes, right? But why I say 3 to 5 times a day is because it becomes repetitive. It starts to become repetition. And so by the time you get to the third day, it's already in you that yes, you have your bullet points and your piece of paper and everything like that. But when it's time to actually present, all you have to do is glance at it, right? So make sure that you're prepping. Make sure you present yourself in the mirror one-on-one to yourself. Or if you want to make it even more fun, get a friend, get a family member, get someone that you really trust to actually watch you record yourself, and then they can give feedback. Now, if you're someone that is comfortable with that person, go ahead and invite them in. But if you're not ready for that level of feedback, I would just say, just keep it between you, yourself, and yourself. Just keep it between you and yourself. But I would do that for at least 3 to 5 days. Okay. Like 3 to 5 days, 3 to 5 times a day. Like every single day you're coming home and that is literally your homework. Your brand deserves more than just a selfie. It deserves a vision captured perfectly. Hi, I'm Danielle J. Martin, and I'm here to help you create a visual identity that creates a lasting impression. So whether you're launching a business or you're enhancing your presence or you're rebranding, your photos are your first impression. So our brand photo shoots aren't just for you to take pretty pictures, but they're for you to tell your story, build trust, and connect with your audience in a whole different way. So if you're ready to elevate your brand that creates a lasting impression, go ahead and click that link down below. Okay, tip number 4 when it comes to communicating confidently on camera, that is what you communicate without words. It's your overall presentation. It's your body position. It's basically the external things that you are displaying that people can see that's actually being communicated to the audience without you even knowing. Okay, this layer of presentation, there's so many elements in it, and I can spend literally a whole day talking about this, but what I want to just give you is the ground foundation of what it truly means to communicate without words, and that is maintaining your eye contact with the camera lens, right? It's not looking off up in the air, looking down, looking off to the side. Now, people do that all the time, right? But if you're constantly doing it, it can come off like you're insecure. It can come off like you don't know what you're talking about. It can come off as if you are unsure of what you're saying, right? It's okay if you do it in a way of like, I'm thinking and I want to like look off this way for 2 or 3 seconds. But if I start communicating this way the entire time and then I'm not communicating with the camera, 1, you're going to think like, okay, what's wrong with this girl? 2, you're going to think like, okay, I don't know if I really know if she's being serious or not. Like there's just going to be a lot of skeptical questions that's going to leave a lot of people wondering what's really going on. Okay. So maintaining that eye contact is so important, which is why like acting as if you're communicating to your friend or a family member is very helpful, someone that you care about. Then keeping your hands visible for people to see them. A lot of people ask me, is it okay if I talk with my hands? Is it okay if I communicate with my hands? Honey, I communicate with my hands all the time. You can see in all my videos. I do not hide my hands at all. Where it can get a little weird is like if you are communicating with your hands behind your back, right? If you're standing up, that could be appropriate for that, right? But if you are hiding your hands like in your pockets all the time and if I had my hands like this the entire time, like you would just think I'm weird, or like you would just not like feel even comfortable listening to me. You might feel like, okay, like what's really going on? It just doesn't seem natural, right? So hands are a big thing that I think I could spend a lot of time on. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to presentation is your overall fit, your overall attire, right? Like what you wear on camera also communicates a lot. Now, ladies, I can spend a whole session on this. We're going to actually have some time for that, because what you are wearing, that could be, modest versus something that is, very explicit, very, cleavage and all of that stuff we can get down to the weeds and all of that, right? And I'm just going to be honest and let you know that that's important, okay? And how you wear that and what you wear on camera is also a whole nother message that I think we can spend a lot of time on. But it's very important to understand that, again, your attire is your brand, okay? And so if your brand of your attire is giving off like, cleavage, and it's giving off, short skirts and pants and things like that, that could be a whole message in itself. So I think thinking about attire is very, very important. Last but not least, I think that communicating, this is something that I'm always working on, is slow communication. When you are communicating on camera, you want to be slow to speak, not so slow that I don't understand what you're communicating, and it could get weird and people are wondering, okay, why is she communicating like that? Even being soft spoken, like all of that matters, right? That is communicating to your audience without words, right? So all of that comes into play into your overall presentation when it comes to communicating confidently on camera, okay? So keep that in mind. Last but not least, I want to give this short tip to you, which I'm sure you guys already know what this tip is going to be. It's maintaining your authenticity. It is the real confidence code. When I studied people that I look up to, like Tamron Hall, Jennifer Hudson, Robin Roberts, all of the greats, when I say that there is something about their authenticity that constantly wins, it wins every single time, like seriously. And so I think you have to ask yourself, okay, what about me makes me me? What about me makes me my authentic self? What about me makes me special, right? If we were to look at this from a business perspective, this comes back to what is your unique value proposition about you? It may feel weird to identify what that is. It may feel like selfish. It may feel like, Danielle, I don't really know. And that's fine. But I think you have to find that, because I think when you tap into that, it really is going to separate you and also bring you confidence when it comes to communicating on camera. When people told me that they enjoy listening to me share my faith, it literally like brought me so much joy. One, that they enjoy hearing the gospel, but two, it was like, wow, because I was so afraid of that. I was so afraid to actually give that part of me. And so when it comes to you identifying that, I encourage you, whatever you're afraid to reveal, first, I would encourage you to heal that part of you, but truly like ask God, is this a part of me that you want me to share with the world? Is there something unique about me that actually I think people could benefit from, right? Like whatever that authenticity piece of you that you want to showcase to the world, write it down. Okay. So when it's time for the training, I could help you truly like empower that and bring it out and elevate it to a whole nother level. But I think finding that authenticity piece of what makes you you is really going to elevate your style and confidence in knowing how to communicate on camera. And so, my friend, that is a couple of tips for you to take away today, okay? So let's recap really quick before you're like, okay, what all did we just discuss? We discussed how you have to believe in what you're saying before you say it. You have to act like you're talking to your friend, a family member, or someone that you care about when it comes to showing up on camera. And then you have to remember the 3P framework. That is prep, present, and practice. Then we also talked about your overall presentation. What are you giving off or communicating without words? That comes down to eyes, your body, your tone. It comes down to your attire. And then last but not least, we talked about the authenticity piece of you, your real confidence code, which is identifying the value proposition that you hold within you. Okay, so this was a quick, brief episode that I wanted to just give to you guys to just sprinkle a little seed for you to start thinking about. Okay, when it comes to you communicating on camera, what are areas that you are afraid of that you are not ready to address? We need to address that. Okay. You have to understand that this skill is necessary in the time that we're living in. Knowing how to communicate on camera, knowing how to have confidence when it comes to public speaking are skills that you need today. You cannot keep avoiding them, okay? This is something that we're going to learn today. I'm going to help you with it, and we're going to start with this, okay? The homework that you have today, my friend, is going in front of your camera, going in front of your mirror, and speaking for 30 seconds to 1 minute on something that you truly are passionate about. Of course, if you need a script, go ahead and partner with ChatGPT to give you some type of script. But I encourage you to go ahead and use this as an opportunity to get ahead. The amount of money you are leaving on the table by not having this skill is insane. Just imagine the virtual workshops, the online seminars, the trainings that you could be having by having this skill. Honey, people are on Zoom for crying out loud. So if you're on Zoom, you know how to communicate confidently on camera. You're having meetings on Zoom. So if you were to just take that Zoom recording and look at yourself, what parts of you do you love? Remember, start with that love piece. Dissect yourself, review. What parts do I love? And then what are some areas that I can improve on? Think about that, okay? And do not tear yourself apart and make this like overall science experiment that's like, okay, you know what? This is just not for me. I can't do it. No, we're not going to do that. So why I think that this skill is important is because confidence is not all about the perfect camera setup or having the right lighting or having the right camera equipment. It has nothing to do with that. I promise you. You can literally start this exercise today by just using your iPhone. So I don't want to hear any excuses of like, Danielle, I can't do this because I don't have this camera or I don't have this lighting. We're not leaving any more excuses on the table. We are going to this fear and we are combating it with truth. And that is starting with the tools that you already have. And that's everything that you already have, which is you. So I encourage you, my friend, to just start today and know that you are not alone. If you've taken anything from this episode, I want to know in the comments. Please leave a comment down below. If there's something that you want me to dive a little bit more into. And I know we just scratched the surface with this, but this skill is so important. We are not going to leave 2025 having this fear on our back. Okay. So go ahead and leave a comment down below. In the meantime, you guys have a great one. We'll see you right back here next time.
Thanks for watching the Authentic Media Podcast YouTube. At Authentic Media Company, our mission is to help you develop an authentic brand so you can make the impact that you are called to make. If you got anything from today's episode, make sure you drop a comment down below. I'm interested to see what your takeaways are. And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel so you can be the first to know when we drop our newest episode. In the meantime, have a great day.